In a realm where humans live alongside mysterious creatures, the race to obtain an extraordinary and formidable beast reaches unparalleled levels of intensity. The consequences are immense, as these creatures possess unimaginable power, capable of unleashing widespread devastation with a single blow. Standing at the forefront of this world is a young and charismatic individual named Su, who has attained unrivaled accomplishments thanks to his exceptional beast, the Lunar Butterfly. Legend speaks of the awe-inspiring Lunar Butterfly, said to possess the extraordinary ability to transcend time, manipulate destiny, and remain impervious to harm. In this fantastical realm, Su's possession of this rare creature has catapulted him into a divine realm, his name resonating like a cosmic symphony across the vast expanse of the cosmos. With eyes that captivate all who gaze upon them, their crescent-shaped pupils shimmer with a radiant luminosity, further enveloping Su in an air of mystique. He embodies the very essence of this world, worshipped and idolized by countless souls as the celestial ruler of the moon. The mere mention of his name evokes a profound sense of otherworldly grandeur and might, while his presence commands reverence and adulation. Amidst a world basked in the radiant glow of the sun, where majestic dragons dance through the celestial skies, a young man found himself seated before a luminous computer screen. Lost in a sea of profound contemplation, he grappled with the weight of the staggering revelation that had recently reached his ears. As the gravity of the truth bore down upon him, perspiration trickled down his furrowed brow, while his trembling fingers betrayed his inner turmoil. In a bewildering twist of fate, he came to a startling realization, one that shook him to the core. He, the very person deep in thought, was none other than the legendary Lunar King Suliang himself. This profound realization became a catalyst, forever transforming his worldview and his perception of his own purpose. The revelation bestowed upon him an unparalleled sense of responsibility, one that he had never before experienced. With this newfound knowledge, he grasped the true magnitude of the Lunar Butterfly and the immense power it wielded. Now, more than ever, he comprehended the weight of his role as the Lunar King and the custodian of such extraordinary might. Transported from the familiar confines of the 21st century modern era, Su, a young man, discovered himself thrust into an extraordinary realm where humans coexisted with formidable creatures called beasts. Astonishingly, not only did he find himself occupying the physical vessel of the previous Lunar King, but he also inherited a flood of memories that belonged to his predecessor. The revelation, both bewildering and awe-inspiring, left Su in a state of overwhelming confusion, grappling to make sense of his newfound existence in this captivating but perplexing world. As Su delved deeper into the recesses of his predecessor's memories, he unraveled the tale of the tragic demise that befell the once mighty Lunar King. To his astonishment, the great ruler met his end in a manner that bordered on the comically undignified. A mere misstep off his bed led him to an untimely and inglorious doom. Such an anticlimactic ending stood as a stark contrast to the majestic reputation that had shrouded the Lunar King throughout his reign. Driven by an insatiable thirst for knowledge about his altered existence, Su beckoned forth the system, yearning to uncover the depths of his current state. However, his heart sank with dismay as he beheld the disappointing revelation before him. He was a mere one-star beast Tamer, accompanied by a feeble flicker butterfly as his companion. The realization struck him with a profound sense of discouragement and disbelief. How could it be that he, the purported Lunar King, found himself adorned with such lackluster abilities and unimpressive attributes? Undeterred by the initial disappointment that washed over him, Su refused to succumb to his perceived fate as a mere, unremarkable beast tamer. Instead, he mustered an unyielding determination, resolute in his quest to unearth the truth about his own identity. Delving deep into his inherited memories, he uncovered a startling revelation. Everything he had believed about the grandeur and achievements of the Lunar King was nothing more than a fabricated web of deceit. The tales that had painted the Lunar King as a paragon of heroism and might were revealed to be nothing more than a tapestry of embellishments and falsehoods. Su stood shocked and disheartened by the revelation that he was not the formidable and revered figure he had envisioned himself to be. As he delved deeper into the memories of the original host, he couldn't help but feel a wave of disbelief washing over him. The previous occupant of his body had been a foolhardy and delusional individual, whose insolent words had earned the ire of the powerful Emperor Cangyue. Despite being granted 3 years to prepare for the impending battle, the original host seemed woefully lacking in the intelligence and foresight needed to improve his dire circumstances. Su couldn't help but contemplate how he, in a similar predicament, would have handled the situation with greater prudence and wisdom, hoping to prove himself different from his ill-fated predecessor. While scrutinizing his companion, a sense of disappointment swept over Su as he observed the meager level of power it possessed. The original host had fervently proclaimed that the flicker butterfly was a legendary creature in disguise, bound to unveil its true form during moments of dire necessity. However, Su swiftly came to the disheartening realization that this belief was nothing more than a delusion. The catchphrase the previous host had coined for his admirers only served to deepen Su's frustration, adding an additional layer of vexation to his growing disillusionment. Although initially disheartened, Su couldn't deny the inherent charm of his flicker butterfly companion. Its endearing traits, such as the graceful expanse of its wings, the sparkling gem-like pupils, and the delicate silkiness of its antennas, captivated his attention and warmed his heart. Despite the creature's perceived lack of power, Su found solace in its undeniable cuteness, allowing himself to appreciate and cherish its charming qualities. Su came to a somber realization that the sheer cuteness of his flicker butterfly would not suffice to navigate the unforgiving world they inhabited. While the butterfly's adorable appearance had the power to make even a hardened demon blush, it proved utterly ineffectual in the crucible of battle. Overwhelmed by frustration and a sense of defeat, Su succumbed to tears, his emotions cascading forth uncontrollably. His diminutive companion, flapping its wings in bewildered confusion, seemed to sense his distress, attempting in its own innocent way to offer solace and comfort. Amidst his prevailing despair, a flicker of hope ignited within Su's consciousness as he recalled a mysterious artifact in the possession of the original host, the Lunar Book. Uttering its name with a newfound determination, the book materialized in his hands, bestowing upon him a renewed sense of possibility. Within its pages, intricate illustrations meticulously depicted a myriad of beasts, spanning the spectrum from low rank to the exalted supreme ranked creatures. The Lunar Book functioned akin to a gacha system, its power dormant until Su encountered these illustrated beasts in the physical realm, at which point he could activate their potential and harness their formidable abilities. This newfound revelation sparked a glimmer of anticipation within Su's heart, for he now realized that his path to strength and destiny lay in uncovering and encountering these extraordinary creatures firsthand. The unearthing of this revelation breathed new life into Su's spirit, infusing him with a newfound sense of confidence and optimism. With the knowledge that a multitude of opportunities awaited him, offering the chance to encounter and capture an array of untamed beasts, his determination surged forth with unwavering resolve. The prospect of embarking on a journey filled with thrilling encounters and the potential to expand his menagerie filled Su's heart with hope and a renewed sense of purpose. He stood ready to seize each opportunity that lay before him, eager to prove his worth and forge a path to greatness in the captivating world of formidable creatures. Filled with enthusiasm, Su eagerly prepared for his day at the esteemed Beast Tamer Academy, wasting no time in getting ready. As he made his way through the student residence, his attention was caught by Bai Yuer, engrossed in playful interaction with a bunny on the lush green grass. Observing the scene with a disapproving gaze was Sandra, Bai's friend, who held concerns about Bai's preference for low-ranked creatures, fearing that it might impede her prospects of forming a contract with a more potent and formidable beast. Contrary to Sandra's concerns, Su offered reassurance, affirming that Bai's interaction with the Moonlight Bunny was simply a moment of playful engagement. However, as Sandra began expressing her admiration for her idol, the Lunar King, her words were interrupted by a captivating sight. The Moonlight Bunny, seemingly drawn to a figure in the distance, hopped towards it. To their astonishment, Su realized that the figure was none other than himself, the Lunar King. As Bai and Sandra observed from a distance, their hearts raced with a mix of excitement and flushed admiration. Witnessing the Lunar King in person, their reverence for him grew, deepening their respect and admiration for the enigmatic figure before them. As Su made his way toward Bai and Sandra, a fleeting, inappropriate thought crossed his mind regarding Bai's cat-like features. Immediately recognizing the inappropriateness of such thoughts, he swiftly dismissed them, feeling a wave of embarrassment wash over him. Determined to maintain a respectful and professional demeanor, Su redirected his focus towards his mission at hand, to unlock new beasts within the Moon Lab. Pushing aside any distractions, he resolved to dedicate his full attention and energy to the task, leaving behind any unseemly thoughts that might have momentarily clouded his mind. As Su ventured deeper into the labyrinthine corridors of the Beast Tamer Academy building, he found himself mesmerized by the ethereal sight of glowing light bubbles gracefully drifting toward him. Intrigued, he watched as one of the radiant bubbles gracefully approached, beckoning him to interact. With a gentle touch, the bubble burst open, revealing a message that exhilarated him. Newly unlocked low-ranked beasts awaited his exploration. Filled with excitement and curiosity, Su led the pack of freshly unlocked beasts, their presence a testament to his growing skills and potential, further into the depths of the Moon Lab. However, their heightened senses suddenly alerted them to an anomaly, causing the newly unlocked creatures to scamper off in the opposite direction. Su found himself standing alone, facing an imposing and foreboding door. Intuition whispered to him that beyond lay the territory of a formidable mid-ranked beast. Though aware of the potential dangers that lay ahead, Su's bravery and determination spurred him onward. With caution as his steadfast companion, he pushed open the massive door and stepped into the unknown, prepared to confront any trials and tribulations that awaited him within. To Su's surprise, as he entered the room, he found it devoid of any living creatures. The space was adorned simply with a handful of delicate crystal lights suspended from the ceiling, casting a gentle glow throughout the room. Amidst the quietude, his gaze was drawn to a prominent symbol, an intricately designed half-moon, etched into the floor at the room's center. Its presence exuded an enigmatic aura, hinting at hidden significance. As Su approached the symbol, his astonishment grew as his eyes fell upon a sight that took his breath away. Resting upon a luxurious cushion was a magnificent creature, the white flower deer. Its pristine white coat, adorned with delicate floral patterns, exuded an otherworldly elegance. Su couldn't help but be captivated by the creature's presence, its serene and regal demeanor resonating with the essence of the moon itself. As he delved deeper into the introductory materials, Su's understanding of the white flower deer expanded. It revealed itself to be a mid-ranked Luna-typed creature, further emphasizing its rare and esteemed status. The gentle and harmonious nature of the white flower deer mirrored the serene beauty of the moon, captivating Su's heart and fueling his desire to forge a connection with this extraordinary being. Just then, two curious students stumbled upon the scene, their surprise mirroring Su's own astonishment. While one student was genuinely fascinated by the deer's stunning appearance, another's thoughts took a salacious turn, straying into inappropriate territory. Recognizing the need for respect and appropriate behavior, Su redirected his attention back to the white flower deer, determined to maintain a sense of dignity and reverence in the presence of such a magnificent creature. The white flower deer, clearly unimpressed by the previous inappropriate conversation, fixed its gaze upon Su. In a surprising turn of events, the majestic creature drew closer, its graceful steps carrying an air of curiosity and intrigue. Su felt a mixture of awe and anticipation as the deer's radiant eyes met his own crescent-shaped gaze, a connection forged between two enigmatic beings. As the deer approached, its proximity allowed Su to feel the gentle warmth of its breath, a testament to the intimacy of this encounter. Recognizing the significance of this moment, Su's heart raced with excitement. He instinctively reached for the lunar book, eager to capture this wondrous creature's essence. But as he summoned the book, the deer startled, leaping backward in surprise. Su stood there, stunned by the deer's reaction, and a realization washed over him. This was no ordinary Bambi-like creature that he had stumbled upon. It was a heavenly lunar, a supreme-ranked beast of unparalleled power capable of unleashing devastation on a grand scale, a force that could single-handedly decimate entire kingdoms. Despite his initial fear, Su considered that the academy must have had a valid reason for housing such a dangerous beast. Hoping to avoid any confrontation, he chose to remain composed and praised the majestic appearance of the mid-ranked white flower deer, emphasizing its rank in the hopes of conveying respect and diffusing the tension. As he hastily made his way towards the exit, Su's mind raced with thoughts of the madness that allowed a formidable beast like the heavenly lunar to freely roam the academy. The adrenaline coursing through his veins compelled him to run for his life. However, much to his surprise, he soon realized that he wasn't being pursued by the deer. Instead, the heavenly lunar seemed captivated by his distinct crescent-shaped eyes. It calmly walked towards its resting place, retrieved a smartphone, and began searching for humans with similar eye patterns. To Su's astonishment, he discovered that the deer had quite an intriguing search history, as if she had stumbled upon something truly remarkable. As Su walked back to his student residence, he couldn't shake off the lingering impact of his encounter with the awe-inspiring heavenly lunar. The deer's serene and graceful demeanor masked the sheer power it possessed. Su understood that underestimating the beast could have dire consequences. Determined to harness his own abilities, he retrieved his trusted lunar book and immersed himself in its pages, eager to unlock and explore the depths of his own powers. As Su delved deeper into the pages of the lunar book, his mind wandered back to the encounter with the enigmatic moonlight bunny earlier in the day. Questions swirled in his head, perplexed by its resistance to the moonlight's influence. A thought emerged, suggesting the possibility that the bunny's true nature might be concealed beneath its innocent facade. Could it be a supreme beast, hiding its immense power within the guise of a harmless bunny? The revelation sparked a newfound curiosity within Su, compelling him to further investigate the truth behind the Moonlight Bunny's identity. Enthralled by his curiosity, Su mustered the courage to approach the Moonlight Bunny. With gentle intentions, he extended his hand, reaching out to pet the adorable creature. As his fingers brushed against its soft fur, a subtle warmth radiated through his touch. Simultaneously, the pages of the Luna book illuminated, unveiling the bunny's name and a revelation about its condition, a lunar deficiency. Su's heart sank with empathy as as he realized that the bunny was unable to harness the energy of the moonlight, rendering it weaker compared to other lunar creatures. A surge of compassion welled up within Su as he vowed to protect and care for the bunny despite its disadvantageous condition. As Su's peaceful slumber was abruptly shattered by a sharp gasp, his eyes fluttered open to investigate the commotion. A young girl stood nearby, her face a mixture of shock and awe. It seemed she had inadvertently stumbled upon a scene she never expected to witness: the Lunar King, a figure renowned for their immense power and regal status, gently interacting with a seemingly insignificant moonlight bunny. The girl's dropped phone and abandoned snack lay forgotten on the ground, mirroring her astonishment. In that fleeting moment, the girl's mind swirled with questions, wondering if she had unwittingly stumbled upon the Lunar King's deepest secret, unraveling a hidden aspect of his character that defied societal expectations. In a state of disorientation and confusion, the young girl named Bai sought solace and understanding in the comforting presence of her friend Sandra. Desperately trying to calm her racing thoughts, Bai recounted the astonishing sight she had witnessed: the Lunar King, a figure shrouded in power and grandeur, gently interacting with a seemingly insignificant moonlight bunny. Bai's mind was consumed by questions, her curiosity piqued. Did the Lunar King possess a deep affection for small creatures, defying the expectations of his royal status? Was this a commonplace occurrence within the mysterious moon realm? The unanswered queries lingered, fueling Bai's desire to uncover the truth behind the Lunar King's unique connection with the creatures of the moon. Sandra, wearing a perplexed expression, observed Bai's animated state with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Uncertain of what to make of her friend's wild theories, she hesitated to fully embrace the excitement. However, Bai's uncontainable enthusiasm proved contagious, overpowering any doubts or reservations. Unable to resist her friend's contagious energy, Sandra couldn't help but get caught up in the thrill of Bai's remarkable discovery. With a nod and a smile, Sandra watched as Bai hurriedly retreated to her room, her mind brimming with anticipation and the promise of further exploration. Unaware of the commotion outside, Su's mind drifted into a peaceful slumber. As he slowly opened his eyes, he was startled to find a figure standing before him. It was not a human, but a woman emanating an aura that surpassed even that of the heavenly lunar. Su's mind raced as he tried to make sense of the mysterious woman before him. The figure slowly approached him, and he froze to the ground. Suddenly, the woman had one knee on the ground, showing her respect to the Lunar King. Su browsed through the original host's memories and remembered that the woman was one of the 4 beasts belonging to one of his core members from the Double Moon clan. There was a moment of awkwardness as he tried to remember the woman's name. Curious about the presence of the woman and the information she shared, Su reached for his phone, eager to gather more details about the remnants of the Black Moon clan and their connection to the Lunar God clan. As he navigated through the digital realm, he sought out any news or reports related to the recent activities and potential threats posed by these 2 powerful factions. With swift taps on his phone, Su delved into his search for information on the Black Moon clan. The results confirmed that the Black Moon clan had once held significant influence in the north, but something caught Su's attention. He stumbled upon a peculiar detail: the original host, in his arrogance, had purposely blocked out all memories of the Black Moon clan, considering them insignificant and weak. Su couldn't help but feel a mixture of frustration and curiosity. Why would the original host dismiss a clan that had once wielded power and influence? What secrets lay hidden within the remnants of the Black Moon clan? These questions stirred a newfound determination within Su as he resolved to uncover the truth and delve deeper into the mysteries surrounding his past and the clans that shaped his destiny. The woman's concern regarding the Black Moon clan's association with the Lunar God clan was rooted in the latter's notorious reputation. Unlike many other guilds that dotted the central continent, the Lunar God clan had established themselves as an unparalleled force, exerting their authority over the entire realm with an iron fist. Their long-standing influence had made them pervasive, and their far-reaching control had made them a force to be reckoned with. However, over time, the Lunar God clan's domination had begun to dwindle. Their power had waned, and they were eventually dethroned by the emerging Double Moon clan, who had quickly established themselves as the new powerhouse. The shift in power dynamics had been swift, and it had taken the Double Moon clan just 3 years to usurp the Lunar God clan's throne. Now, the Double Moon clan is gearing up for an all-out war against their former overlords. With Su's approval, the woman's eyes glinted with excitement as she hurried back to spread this explosive news. Su was feeling excited and determined as he reached for his lunar book. He had been collecting lunar creatures for a while and had finally earned enough to unlock the highly sought-after gacha system. With just a few clicks, Su could now summon any lunar beast of any rank. And if he wasn't happy with the creature he summoned, he could return it and receive valuable experience points in exchange. Su didn't hesitate as he hovered his finger over the summon button. He took a deep breath before clicking it, unleashing a dazzling light from the book. This light signaled the arrival of a new lunar beast, a high-ranked transparent moon shadow. Su was initially excited about the creature's rarity and unique support skills, but upon closer inspection, he realized that he needed more experience points to level up. So, he decided to return the creature and gain the necessary experience points. As Su watched the book glow and shimmer, he felt a surge of anticipation. He was very close to becoming a level 2 beast tamer, and he could hardly wait. Su then flopped onto his bed and stared up at the ceiling. He couldn't shake the image of the majestic deer he had seen earlier that day, and it filled him with inspiration. The creature had captured Su's heart, and he couldn't help but wonder if there was any way to make it his loyal companion. As he drifted off to sleep, Su's dreams were filled with visions of him and the deer. The next morning, the deer was rudely awakened by the sound of loud banging and construction. Confused and disoriented, it stumbled around, trying to find familiar fixtures and furnishings, but everything was gone. That's when it saw her, a woman caretaker, with tears in her eyes, gently brushing the deer's fur. The caretaker broke the news to the deer that it had been sold to the Lunar God clan. The poor creature was in shock. People from Lunar God Palace started coming in, which troubled all the normal people around the premise, as they are from the central continent's dominant force. The two sisters had different attitudes towards their mission. The younger sister, with her fiery red hair, showed her disapproval and contempt towards the academy where the Lunar King resided. Her elder sister, with her blue hair, cautioned her against causing any trouble or conflict with either the Lunar King or the Double Moon clan. She reminded her sister that their sole objective was to retrieve the white flower deer, and they must not stray from their mission. As they arrived at the Moon Lab, a woman greeted them with a warm smile, opening the door to welcome them. As Quinn guided the sisters into the Moon Lab, she sensed their underlying lack of respect, despite her unwavering professionalism. However, she remained composed, knowing that the once formidable Lunar God clan had significantly diminished in power. Their behavior wouldn't deter her determination to make the most of the opportunity presented by the presence of the rare and nearly extinct white flower deer. Quinn understood the immense value of the white flower deer and the potential it held. With this in mind, she remained focused on the task at hand, ready to seize the moment and utilize her expertise to the fullest. Regardless of the sisters' attitude, Quinn was determined to showcase her skills and ensure the well-being of the magnificent creature entrusted to her care. She remained resolute in her commitment to protect and preserve the beauty and significance of the white flower deer within the Moon Lab's confines. Upon reaching the enclosure of the white flower deer, the older sister wasted no time and made a generous offer, willing to pay 10 times the original price for the magnificent creature. Quinn, however, had a sudden idea that could potentially increase the value of the deer even further. Aware of the deer's selective nature when it came to choosing a mate, she realized that proving its lineage as the offspring of an emperor-ranked creature would greatly enhance its worth and desirability. Quinn confidently asserted that the white flower deer was the offspring of an emperor-ranked creature owned by the Academy's first-generation founder. The deer's lineage, combined with the luxurious treatment and resources invested in its upbringing, made it an incredibly valuable and unique creature. The older sister, who was determined to acquire the deer, understood the significance of its worth. However, the younger sister found the situation amusing and couldn't help but burst into laughter, doubting the credibility of Quinn's claims. The older sister, however, was not deterred by her younger sibling's lack of faith. She demanded that Quinn state whether 20 times the original price would be enough to obtain the deer. The younger sister whispered to her older sister that it was way above their budget. But the older sister was resolute in her determination. She owned a rare and highly ranked beast that had an uncanny ability to sense fortune and predict danger. Since their arrival at the Moon Lab, her beast had been acting manic, sensing something ominous on the horizon. The older sister's determination to acquire the white flower deer intensified as she felt the urgency to leave the place immediately. However, her attention was abruptly diverted when she sensed an otherworldly aura emanating from behind her. With trepidation, she slowly turned around, only to come face to face with a sight that sent shivers down her spine. Hovering in midair was a being unlike anything she had ever seen before. The onlookers stood frozen in shock as the Lunar King, Su, approached the two unwelcome guests. Sensing his commanding presence, they instinctively stepped away, creating a path for him to pass through. Su's movements were deliberate and calculated, exuding an aura of power that sent shivers down the older sister's spine. She was filled with a mixture of fear and curiosity, uncertain of what could have brought the Lunar King to the Moon Lab. Whatever the reason, she knew it was not a situation to be taken lightly. Concerned for her younger sister's well-being, the older sister shifted her focus from the looming presence of the Lunar King to her sibling's condition. With urgency in her actions, she gently shook her sister, trying to bring her back to consciousness. Using her telepathic ability, she communicated instructions to avoid direct eye contact with Su, understanding the potential danger it could pose. Gradually, the younger sister regained consciousness, though visibly exhausted and drained from the experience. The older sister remained vigilant, ready to protect her sibling from any further harm. Overwhelmed by the intensity of Su's otherworldly aura, the sisters stood in awe, feeling as if they were in the presence of a divine entity. The sheer power emanating from him left them paralyzed with fear, their minds unable to fully comprehend the gravity of the situation they found themselves in. Every instinct in their bodies screamed at them to tread carefully, for any wrong move could lead to their untimely demise. They remained frozen in place, unsure of what to do next, as the weight of their predicament sank deeper into their beings. Meanwhile, Su observed the sisters' fearful reactions with a hint of amusement. Their trembling and vulnerability reminded him of helpless kittens, unsure of how to navigate a daunting situation. However, he understood the seriousness of their predicament and the impact his presence had on them. While inwardly finding their lack of preparedness amusing, he maintained a composed demeanor, giving no indication of his intentions. This only heightened the sisters' anxiety, leaving them on edge, desperately searching for any clue or guidance amidst their fear. Su was becoming increasingly impatient as he waited for an explanation of the situation. He couldn't understand why no one had come forward to clarify things for him. As the tension between Su and the two sisters grew, Quinn suddenly burst forth with excitement and introduced herself with great fervor. She was thrilled to share the news of her recent induction into the prestigious Double Moon clan and eagerly proclaimed her affiliation for all to hear. However, there was more to their visit than just sharing this news. Quinn revealed their true purpose, to acquire the elusive mid-ranked white flower deer. Su knew that this was no ordinary deer. In fact, it was a heavenly lunar, and only he knew its true identity. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Su knew that he needed to act quickly. He strode past the two trembling sisters and made his way straight to the moon lab. Before he disappeared inside, he turned back to the sisters and demanded that they vacate the premises immediately. His voice was firm, leaving no room for argument. Initially, the crowd was puzzled by Su's cryptic warning, unsure of its significance. Murmurs and whispers filled the air as they tried to decipher the hidden meaning behind his words. However, as the seconds passed, a wave of realization washed over them like a powerful tide. If the Lunar King had uttered those words, there must be a profound significance behind them. The younger sister mustered the courage to voice her protest, but her words stumbled and faltered under the weight of Su's piercing gaze. The intensity of his stare was enough to overwhelm her, leaving her trembling in fear and shame. In a moment of complete vulnerability, she couldn't control her bodily reactions, resulting in an embarrassing accident that only intensified her humiliation. Collapsing to the ground, her spirit crushed, she felt a mixture of fear and shame wash over her. The atmosphere grew increasingly tense as the realization of their dire predicament sank in for the sisters. There was no denying the severity of the situation. With no other viable option, they knew they had to make a hasty retreat from the premises. Chaos and unease filled the air as the sisters hastily departed, their departure marked by a palpable sense of disarray and disquiet. The scene was chaotic and tense as the sisters left, feeling humiliated and embarrassed. The onlookers watched in disbelief, still reeling from the encounter. Su breathed a sigh of relief and made his way into the moon lab. He was relieved that his plan had worked and that the Lunar God clan was temporarily deterred. Even though he didn't quite understand why he had said that the moon was about to set, it had done the trick, and he was pleased with himself. As he walked further into the lab, he heard a loud noise coming from the luxurious room where the white flower deer was housed. The usually calm atmosphere was now filled with the sounds of workers frantically packing up the deer, readying it for the Lunar God clan's arrival. The commotion was intense, and it felt like a stampede of wild animals had descended upon the place. In the midst of the chaos, Su's attention was drawn to the white flower deer. She was nibbling on a worker's coat, and the expression on her face revealed her displeasure at the situation. Su found amusement in the idea of the white flower deer communicating her displeasure over the situation in her own way. The deer's behavior had raised concerns in the caretaker, who decided to take charge and assist in packing the deer's belongings. The white flower deer made a frantic attempt to prevent the caretaker from lifting the sheets, but it was too late. The caretaker deftly uncovered a hoard of items hidden beneath the sheets. Among them were snacks, a trashy romance novel titled Dominating CEO Loves Me, a doll, a smartphone, and a handheld mirror. The caretaker appeared confused by the strange collection of items, but her focus was quickly drawn to the smartphone. As the caretaker picked up the phone, the deer became visibly nervous, as if trying to conceal something. The deer appeared desperate to prevent anyone from discovering her search history, prompting her to charge towards the caretaker in an attempt to knock the phone out of her hand. However, in her haste, the deer only managed to cause the phone to fly through the air like a projectile, adding to the chaos in the room. For a moment, it seemed as though the phone was headed straight for disaster, but then, out of nowhere, a hand shot out to catch it, and the owner of that hand was none other than Su, the Lunar King himself. As the deer gazed up at Su in disbelief, she couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. It was as if fate had intervened to bring these two together. The white flower deer cursed her luck. Out of all the people to catch her with her guilty pleasure, it had to be Su, the Lunar King himself. She cringed and tried to hide behind the bed, hoping that her embarrassment would go unnoticed, but Su had already seen everything. As he swiped through the deer's phone screen, a sly smirk appeared on his face. He knew he had just uncovered a juicy secret. After a moment of relishing in the deer's humiliation, Su tossed the phone aside and declared that the deal with the Lunar God clan was off. Everyone was to go home, and he would return later that night to discuss the future of the Moon Lab. Without giving any further explanation, Su turned on his heel and strode out of the room, leaving the stunned caretaker and the mortified white flower deer behind. As everyone wondered about the negotiations that would take place, Su surprised the workers by revealing that he had bought the Moon Lab to make contact with lunar creatures and unlock more items in the gacha system. However, he soon found out that he was dealing with a powerful supreme deer who did not take kindly to his intentions. The deer, knowing that her true identity had been revealed to Su, decided to take action and took Su's smartphone away to prevent him from sharing her secret. Su was stunned by the sudden turn of events and ran away, realizing the danger he was in. The caretaker, who had been watching the scene unfold, wondered what was on Su's smartphone that had elicited such a reaction from the Lunar King. Just as she was about to reach for the phone, the deer acted swiftly and took it away, knowing that Su had seen everything. The deer was surprised at herself for taking such a drastic action, but she was certain that Su had noticed her true identity. She was not going to let him leave the Moon Lab, as she feared he would reveal her secret to others. When Su turned around, he heard a captivating and euphonic voice that stopped him in his tracks. He was face to face with a deer, and he found out that it was a female who enjoyed reading novels. Su chuckled at the deer's flustered reaction, but the deer quickly regained her composure and stood up tall. She confronted Su and warned him not to make fun of her, or else she would make sure that he never left the Moon Lab. Su broke the tense silence with a witty remark, telling the deer that she had successfully attracted his interest, using one of the lines from the novel she had been reading. The deer was caught off guard and felt embarrassed, blushing like a ripe tomato. As Su repeated his witty remark, the deer stood there, visibly taken aback, her voice faltering in response. In that moment, a spark of realization ignited in Su's mind. He recalled a unique ability possessed only by supreme-ranked creatures, the power to summon them by calling out their true name within a certain radius. Intrigued by this thought, he decided to put his theory to the test with the deer. With a mixture of curiosity and anticipation, he asked the deer if she would come to his side if he called her real name. The deer's initial response was one of affirmation, acknowledging the weight of the deal she had just made with Su. The gravity of the situation sank in as she realized the consequences of her actions. Su sealed the agreement with a gentle smile, but his words carried a subtle warning. He made it clear that if the deer failed to respond to his call, he would unveil her secret to everyone. The deer felt a mix of emotions, intimidated by the prospect of Su's power and captivated by his striking appearance and charm. Stuttering, she managed to muster a response, her voice betraying both anxiety and a glimmer of curiosity. As Su left the Moon Lab, the deer couldn't resist calling after him, urging him to be careful during the upcoming full moon. The words slipped out of her mouth, a mixture of concern and curiosity. Watching him walk away, she couldn't help but feel a sense of familiarity, as if their interaction had been plucked from the pages of a romance novel. It reminded her of the classic trope of meeting a dominating CEO who swept her off her feet. The thought lingered in her mind, leaving her to wonder if this encounter was the beginning of a captivating story of her own. As Su retreated from the Moon Lab, his heart still racing, he couldn't believe the precarious situation he had found himself in. The realization hit him like a wave. He had casually threatened a supreme-ranked creature, all in the name of amusement. A sense of guilt washed over him as he wiped the perspiration from his forehead, questioning whether he had gone too far. Yet, as he reflected on the encounter, he couldn't help but recall the deer's endearing side and the exhilaration of the moment. There was an undeniable thrill that had captivated him. The tension in the room was palpable as the pillars of the Lunar God clan discussed the implications of the Lunar King's comment. 10 highly esteemed individuals held the top positions in the Lunar God clan. Their beauty and expertise in beast taming was widely known and admired. During their discussion, the fourth pillar suggested that the Lunar King was only reminding them of the upcoming full moon. However, her idea was immediately dismissed by the others, who insulted her for even suggesting it. Despite the backlash, one of the pillars had a different theory. She believed that the Lunar King wouldn't waste his time on weak or low-ranked creatures, which led her to suspect that there must be something of great significance within the Moon Lab. Her theory was that there was a powerful creature, possibly even a supreme or emperor-level being kept within. According to legend, this creature held a god sealed inside of its body, and the time had come for it to be fully awakened. The situation in the room was growing more and more intense as the pillars of the Lunar God clan considered the possibility that a powerful god was about to be awakened. They were filled with dread at the thought of having to face such a formidable opponent. The stakes were high, and the fate of their clan was hanging in the balance. Suddenly, a voice was heard, interrupting the tense silence in the room. It was the fourth pillar, and she was trying to get in touch with the Black Moon clan. She was hoping that they would be willing to join forces with the Lunar God clan to take on the Lunar King and his Double Moon clan, even though he had already contracted with an Emperor-ranked creature. There was a moment of stunned silence as the person on the other end of the line heard the request. But then, to everyone's surprise, another mysterious figure took over the call. The voice was calm and reassuring, and it spoke with a sense of authority. It informed them that there was someone in the world who was just as strong as the Lunar King. Amidst the growing buzz surrounding the Lunar King's activities, Su's actions continued to raise eyebrows throughout the northern continent. The news of his acquisition of a moon lab and the subsequent influx of various lunar creatures into the academy sparked widespread curiosity and speculation. Whispers of the Lunar King's rising power and the possibility of a god's awakening swirled in the air, adding an air of intrigue to an already tense atmosphere. Undeterred by the rumors and attention, Su maintained his composure and focused on expanding his collection of lunar creatures. Guided by his insatiable curiosity and unwavering determination, he delved deeper into the gacha system, unveiling its mysteries one summon at a time. Among the 5 new creatures he obtained, there was one that stood out, a high-ranked being known as Moon Reflection. The discovery of Moon Reflection intrigued Su, prompting him to seek further information about this extraordinary creature. Curiously, his efforts to find details about Moon Reflection on Bikopedia, the renowned compendium of creature knowledge, yielded no results. It became apparent that Moon Reflection's existence went beyond the confines of conventional knowledge, suggesting a creature of rare and unique origins. Su investigated the lunar book and found out that the creature had gone extinct 13,000 years ago but had a unique ability called Sunk, which allowed it to absorb shocks and waves and revive itself after exploding. Su was amazed by this discovery and decided to sign Moon Reflection as his contract creature, as it was a high-ranked creature that nobody knew about and had a useful ability, allowing him to avoid exposing his identity. During the full moon, a confident individual stood on a building, admiring the beautiful lunar view. He had a sense of pride and thought highly of himself, but in reality, he was a spy working for the Black Moon clan to keep tabs on the Lunar King's movements. Suddenly, a huge creature appeared behind him, and the spy turned around to confront it. Meanwhile, inside Su's dormitory, the flicker butterfly was behaving erratically, fluttering around uncontrollably. Su understood that the butterfly was reacting to the full moon, so he quickly got dressed and went outside. Chaos ensued outside, as students and teachers were chasing their beasts, and the ground was shaking. From his window, Su witnessed a man being pursued by a massive beast. The sassy spy was taken aback by what he saw. A small and weak creature, like a low-ranked moon bunny, was overpowering him. The beast let out a loud roar, and the spy dodged in various directions to avoid getting hit. The sassy man and the giant moon bunny engaged in a chaotic battle, and the nearby moon lab creatures were on edge due to the commotion. A deer in the lab was disturbed by the noise and ordered the creatures to calm down and return to their rooms, which they did obediently. The deer was curious about what Su meant when he said to be on his side, but was too embarrassed to think about it further and tried to sleep. The sassy man rode on his beast, a cross between 2 dolphins, towards the giant bunny with the intention of stopping its rampage. Despite the sassy man's dodging skills, the bunny continued to attack him relentlessly, even throwing a pile of rocks at him, causing damage to nearby creatures. The sassy man sneered at his beast, knowing it was just an enraged creature with no intelligence, and ordered them to merge into a hideous creature that absorbed moonlight. The merged creature attacked the bunny with a powerful bite. Meanwhile, the chaos at the academy caused the teachers to evacuate, and a lone figure was drawn toward the destruction by a surge of energy. As the fierce battle reached its climax, the moon bunny emerged from the chaos unscathed, its fluffy form standing tall and proud. In stark contrast, the sassy man's creature writhed in agony, its pained screams echoing through the air. Sandra and Bai, astonished by the spectacle they had just witnessed, exchanged incredulous glances, their minds swirling with a mixture of awe and curiosity. Bai, fueled by her insatiable thirst for knowledge and adventure, yearned to delve deeper into the mystery of this extraordinary creature. However, Sandra, ever the voice of reason, placed a restraining hand on Bai's shoulder, urging caution. The sheer size and power displayed by the moon bunny left Sandra with a lingering suspicion that this was no ordinary creature. She whispered to Bai, suggesting that it could be a highly ranked hammer bunny, a rare and formidable entity known for its strength and resilience. As the battle continued, the moon bunny harnessed its unique attribute, its long, agile ears, to capture the sassy man's creature, delivering a resounding slam onto the ground that sent shockwaves of destruction rippling through the vicinity. In a desperate attempt to regain the upper hand, the sassy man's creature unleashed a powerful vacuum, attempting to draw everything into its grasp. To Sandra and Bai's astonishment, the moon bunny mirrored the move, sucking in the surrounding air and swelling in size with each passing second. A sense of danger tinged the air as Sandra instinctively positioned herself protectively in front of Bai, their bond strengthened by the unbreakable connection they shared with their loyal beasts. With a resounding boom, the moon bunny unleashed a devastating attack, obliterating everything in its path. The destructive force left debris scattered and shattered, the remnants of a clash that defied expectations. Soon after, the giant bunny heard people coughing and turned around to see the two girls. As there were no structures to provide shelter, Bai's beast tried to protect them from the bunny's intimidating presence. The bunny walked towards the girls with its ears raised, seemingly listening for something. Despite their apprehension, the bunny showed affection and enthusiasm towards Bai. The bunny proceeded to remove the rubble and unearth the sassy man, who had been buried. The sassy man continued to insult and threaten the bunny, but it ignored him and threw him aside. The bunny then raised its paws, leaving the girls unsure of what to do. Unbeknownst to them, the sassy man was actually a spy and a teacher from their academy. Despite knowing that their beasts were no match for the bunny, they could not let the bunny harm him. Bai was about to confront the bunny when a man, who turned out to be the Lunar King, intervened. The Lunar King was a commanding and majestic presence that demanded respect from everyone around him. Su confidently strode towards the massive bunny, feeling like an aristocrat, and announced that it was time for the convergence of the moon. This was a defining moment for Su, but let's rewind the clock by 10 minutes to understand how he got here. On this eerie night, the full moon was casting a peculiar glow, and Su was feeling particularly bold. However, his bravado faded when he noticed the massive bunny, which exuded an aura of sheer power and had taken down a 4-star mentor with ease. Su was no match for this giant creature, and he contemplated calling for backup from his trusty deer. However, he noticed something strange about the bunny's behavior. It had positioned itself between two helpless girls and showed no intention of harming them. Su realized that the bunny was not enraged, but rather acting on pure instinct. As the sassy man watched, he was lifted by Bai's tiger and flung away, leaving Su and the giant bunny facing off against each other. Although the bunny wasn't enraged, it still slammed its ears onto Su, sending the two girls into a state of shock. Time seemed to slow down as Su's fate hung in the balance, but suddenly his newly contracted beast, Moon Reflection, hugged him from behind and neutralized the bunny's attack. As Su recovered from the attack, he recognized the bunny as a low-ranked moonlight bunny with a lunar deficiency that had forced it to rank up and evolve beyond its limits. He felt a strange kinship with the creature, as he knew that creatures with lunar deficiency could only absorb energy from the moonlight during the full moon. Su gently rubbed the bunny's fur, feeling a glimmer of recognition from the creature. It was a momentous encounter that would leave a lasting impression on Su. Out of nowhere, 3 mysterious figures appeared behind the group, causing the sassy man to realize the severity of the situation. The Lunar King was alarmed, and everyone was in danger of dying. Despite the fear, Su quickly thought of a solution and approached a giant bunny with kindness. The bunny showed respect by bowing down, and Su made an agreement to meet it later. The bunny then bounced away, shocking everyone, including the sassy man, who watched the Lunar King spare the bunny despite it attacking him. Su sarcastically questioned the sassy man's idea of an attack, leaving him speechless. The Lunar King's gaze bore into the sassy man, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly intensity. In a mesmerizing display, the shape of the crescent moon reflected in Su's eyes transformed into a full moon, a symbol of a significant and imminent event. The sassy man, overcome by a surge of memories and emotions, found himself unable to resist the power emanating from Su's gaze. With a cry that escaped his lips, the sassy man collapsed into a deep slumber, his consciousness transported to an unfamiliar room. Confusion enveloped him as he awoke, finding himself alone and disoriented. Suddenly, a mysterious voice echoed inside his mind, delivering cryptic instructions. The voice commanded the sassy man to continue his role as a spy, keeping a watchful eye on the Lunar King's every move and reporting back to the Black Moon clan. Though the sassy man harbored doubts and fears, he had little choice but to obey, knowing the consequences of defiance would be dire. Caught in the intricate web of conflicting loyalties, the sassy man embarked on a new chapter, bound by secrecy and the weight of his mission. Uncertain of whom to trust and what fate awaited him, he pledged to carry out his orders, all the while haunted by the enigmatic power of the Lunar King's eyes and the mysteries hidden within the moonlit realm. On the other hand, Su found himself face to face with the moon bunny once again, which had transformed back to its regular form. Su signed a contract with the bunny and wondered about its power, but was interrupted by the bunny chewing on his shoes. Su emerged from his room to a busy hallway where people were running with panic and excitement. Curious, he made his way through the crowds and overheard 2 girls discussing a supreme ranked creature nearby. He checked his phone and found news about the elusive recumbent lunar blade, a weapon-type beast that had never before acknowledged a beast tamer as its master. The appearance of the creature had caused a frenzy among spectators, with many speculating about its sudden appearance in the same area as the Lunar King. Despite his desire to contract and subdue the recumbent lunar blade, Su wisely chose not to stand in front of hundreds of thousands of people and risk failure. Instead, he spent time with a deer in the moon lab. The deer wondered about Su's plans as she rested, but was interrupted by the creak of the door. Su arrived, and the little deer was thrilled to see him, although she tried to remain composed. She asked him why he didn't go after the recumbent lunar blade. Hoping for an explanation, Su sat down on her bed and complimented her beauty, making the little deer blush. He then surprised her with a luxurious food item that she had never seen before, which she admired before adding it to her collection. Before leaving, Su asked for her phone number and added her to a chatting app. The little deer was uncertain about Su's intentions, wondering if he was genuinely interested in her or had an ulterior motive. She considered playing hard to get but ultimately was left wondering if Su would return. Meanwhile, the Lunar King remained indifferent towards the recumbent lunar blade, and the Double Moon clan was silent, creating a sense of mystery. In a secluded valley, Claire, the vice president of the Lunar Beast Tamer Academy, was guarding a desk where people had to fill out a safety sheet before proceeding further. The sassy man limped his way towards the desk, his body riddled with bandages from previous misadventures. The man had arrived to assume Claire's position and found himself unable to resist staring at the attractive female students. However, his inappropriate thoughts were abruptly halted when a woman wearing a flowing cape appeared out of nowhere. As the man's mind wandered, he unexpectedly noticed a tattoo on the mysterious woman's hand, which sent a shiver down his spine. With a quick glance back at her face, he realized that it was her. In a valley, a woman with captivating blue skin stood in awe, gazing at the luminous aura emanating from a majestic lunar blade that could be seen from miles away. As an esteemed officer hailing from a formidable water-type guild in the central continent, she had embarked on a lengthy journey to witness this extraordinary and significant occurrence. However, her arrival did not sit well with the leaders from the northern continent, who thinly masked their hostility with disapproving expressions. The teacher at the academy warned the woman about the perils of approaching the blade without the assistance of lunar beasts. The protective energy surrounding the blade would repel any non-lunar type beasts, posing a significant danger. Despite the cautionary advice, the woman remained steadfast in her decision, determined to stay behind and witness the event firsthand. Shortly thereafter, Claire appeared alongside a group of enthusiastic students, all prepared to venture into the domain of the slumbering lunar blade. With a stern expression, she firmly established the rules, cautioning the assembled group that the blade must not be disturbed while in its dormant state. Furthermore, when the blade awakened, it possessed the capability to unleash a destructive shockwave capable of slicing through anything unfortunate enough to be in its path. As the deer diligently explained the rules to Su, the young man reclined lazily on his bed, allowing his mind to drift towards thoughts of comfort and idleness. The notion of confronting a legendary supreme beast appeared nothing more than a whimsical fantasy, as improbable as a mermaid riding a unicorn. However, in the midst of his wandering thoughts, a sudden jolt coursed through his body, akin to an electric shock. It was then that he realized he bore a profound responsibility to take action. With great anticipation, the students formed a line, brimming with excitement to enter the forbidden territory. Observing the scene with an unwavering focus, the caped woman maintained a vigilant gaze, meticulously surveying her surroundings for the slightest indication of the Lunar King's presence. Her thoughts were consumed by the singular objective of seizing the slumbering lunar blade and eliminating any potential witnesses. Abruptly, her phone buzzed, abruptly pulling her out of her intense reverie. Filled with anticipation, she trembled as she quickly checked the GPS tracker, discovering that the Lunar King was in motion, gradually approaching the perilous valley rumored to conceal the coveted blade. A myriad of questions raced through her mind, each vying for attention. However, before she could dwell on them, Claire's commanding voice pierced through the cacophony of her thoughts, snapping her back to the present moment. Suppressing her urge to retort, the caped woman clenched her teeth, mustering the strength to bow in apology. She understood the importance of maintaining her cover, especially when she was on the verge of accomplishing her ultimate objective. Nevertheless, a seething anger and resentment simmered within her, fueling her thoughts as she plotted clandestine methods to exact retribution upon Claire for her perceived insolence. The students were gathered around Claire, holding the teleportation stones with a sense of anxiety, knowing that the mission was not an easy one. They had to be careful and avoid any mistake that could trap them inside the awakened realm of the blade forever. Breaking the stone would bring them back to safety. However, the blue-skinned woman showed contempt towards the students, considering them foolish mortals who were delusional in their quest to capture the legendary lunar blade. Even the mighty 8-star beast tamer, Cangyue Emperor, had failed to subdue the blade. The blue-skinned woman noticed a caped woman among the students, and when their eyes met, she felt a chill running down her spine. The blue-skinned woman approached Claire with sarcasm, asking why she bothered with a group of weaklings when she could just call the Lunar King. Suddenly, Su, the legendary Lunar King himself, appeared, shocking everyone in the room. The blue-skinned woman, who was dismissive of the students just moments before, was also taken aback by his appearance. Claire greeted Su with respect, and onlookers were concerned that the lunar blade might repel the Lunar King's Emperor-ranked beast. But Claire, who was a fangirl, expressed her excitement and admiration for the Lunar King. Someone then interrupted, saying that Su was required to be in close contact with the beast to unlock it in his book. As Su's foot touched the outer layer of the circle, the lunar book came to life, unlocking a new beast called the Silence Balance. The Silence Balance is a supreme ranked beast with exceptional purity and crowd control abilities. It cannot fight, but it has two unique skills called Fairness and Silence, which only allow supreme ranked beasts to attack in its territory and make the user invisible to even the most powerful Emperor ranked beasts. Su realized the beast's identity as it belonged to the ruthless Black Moon clan, and questioned Claire about how they allowed them to enter the territory. Su then declared that the Double Moon clan would take control of the area, and no other clan would be permitted to enter. The shock and confusion were evident on everyone's faces. The Northern Continent's elite were shocked by the sudden turn of events when they learned the news. The blue-skinned woman, who was known for her suspicion, immediately realized that the cloaked woman who entered the circle was a member of the Black Moon clan. It became clear to Su that the Silence Balance was placed here to stop him from summoning his Emperor-ranked beast. The Black Moon clan had likely believed that Su possessed one, which was why they placed the Silence Balance there. The sassy man, who was notorious for being a drama queen, started causing trouble, using the remnants of the Black Moon clan as an excuse to persuade everyone to allow him to enter the circle and protect Su. The big shots of the Northern Continent were hesitant, unsure of what to do. They suspected that the sassy man had ulterior motives and might cause chaos or even harm Su. The sassy man ignored the big shots' pleas to let them accompany him and hobbled towards the entrance of the circle, his wounds covered in bandages. Claire noticed something strange about his behavior but couldn't figure out what it was. However, just as the sassy man was about to enter the circle, a powerful energy surge from the sky struck him, flinging him several meters away. As the dust settled, a woman wearing bells around her waist appeared, sneering at the sassy man. The woman was from the Double Moon clan, one of the most influential and prestigious clans in the Northern Continent, and was known to be one of the 12 elite officers. She had a reputation that preceded her, and everyone knew that she was not to be underestimated. With her authoritative tone, the woman declared that the circle was under the Double Moon clan's protection, and that no one was allowed to disrupt the peace. The sassy man was not welcome in the circle, and the woman made it clear that he was not going to enter. The cloaked woman felt increasingly uneasy as she ventured deeper into the circle. The silence was deafening, and the only sound was that of her footsteps on the gravelly ground. Suddenly, she sensed a powerful energy discharge behind her, and she quickly sprinted towards the source. There, in the center of the circle, lay the recumbent lunar blade, which seemed to emanate a powerful aura. The woman approached the blade with caution, her heart racing with excitement. Her body moved fluidly, and she looked confident as she stepped forward. Her eyes were full of determination, and her long hair moved as if it was on fire. She spoke in a commanding voice, stating that she understood what the beast wanted. She explained that it had rejected the song of its emperor and the saint from the Moon God clan because they were born with an emperor-ranked beast. However, she felt that the beast was proud and could not accept being in a lower status than any other. The woman then revealed her own power as a 6-star beast tamer and declared that she would be a rightful owner, even though she may not be as strong as those who had been rejected. She was determined to prove herself to the beast. Entrusted with the momentous responsibility of subduing the elusive lunar blade, the esteemed beast tamer, boasting a prestigious 6-star rank, extended her hand to grasp the weapon. To her astonishment, an intense burst of blinding light erupted from the blade, abruptly halting her hand in its tracks. A translucent barrier materialized, indicating her failure in fulfilling the mission. Bewildered and perplexed, the woman struggled to comprehend what had gone awry. The leader had adamantly assured her that she was the flawless candidate for this critical task, and yet she had faltered in her attempt to subdue the formidable lunar blade. In the midst of her bewildered state, a contingent of students from the Seoul Lunar sect materialized behind her. Their expressions were etched with fury and contempt towards the woman standing before them, the same woman who had mercilessly assaulted 20 of their sect members earlier. The young man who led the group had discovered his fellow sect members grievously injured along the roadside, managing to identify the woman as the assailant before succumbing to unconsciousness. She was cloaked in black, possessed long ebony hair, and eyes resembling serpents, instilling an aura of menace and treachery. Casting a cold and contemptuous gaze upon the group, The woman's lips curled into a sneering grin, her serpent-like eyes brimming with seething anger. Fueled by her fury over being rejected by the lunar blade, she now found herself confronted by what she deemed as a mere gathering of feeble individuals. With a surge of formidable power, 3 ethereal orbs materialized behind her, each radiating an otherworldly energy. Among them were the nefarious evil moon, the elusive floating shadow, and the awe-inspiring thunderous lunar, all renowned high-ranking beasts. Suspended in the air, the orbs exuded an unsettling glow, sending shivers down the spines of the Soul Lunar sect members. The sect members stood frozen in shock, unable to comprehend the woman's astonishing ability to summon 3 high-ranked beasts simultaneously, an unprecedented feat. A twisted smirk adorned her face as she savored the mixture of fear and awe she had provoked in her adversaries. Taunting them with disdain, she effortlessly flicked her wrist, issuing a signal to her formidable trio. In a ruthless onslaught, the beasts lunged forward, colliding with the sect members with an earth-shaking force. The air became tainted with the spray of blood as razor-sharp claws and teeth tore through their defenseless opponents. The sect members proved utterly outmatched, their valiant efforts futile against the woman's merciless trio. Within a matter of minutes, the gruesome carnage drew to a close. The woman stood alone, her attire immaculate, her countenance unblemished, surrounded by the lifeless bodies of her vanquished foes. With an icy, detached stare, the woman surveyed the aftermath of the devastation she had unleashed. A surge of excitement coursed through her veins as her eyes fixated on the slumbering lunar blade, her hopes kindled by the prospect of unlocking its dormant might. Yet, despite her relentless efforts to earn its recognition, the lunar blade remained indifferent, unyielding to her plea. Frustration welled up within her, evident in the clenching of her teeth and the tightening grip of her fists. Breaking the eerie silence, a voice shattered the stillness, dismissing the woman from the Black Moon clan as nothing but worthless rubbish. Filled with a mixture of rage and confusion, the woman swiftly spun around to confront her tormentor. Her gaze burned with an intense ferocity as she laid eyes upon the Lunar King, who approached with unwavering confidence. To her astonishment, she realized that he was unaccompanied, lacking any form of protection. As the Lunar King drew nearer, a surge of confidence washed over the woman, causing her to question whether he truly believed himself invincible with only an emperor-ranked beast by his side. Meanwhile, Su wore a sly smile, listening to the boastful claims of the Blade Moon clan. They had naively fallen for the fabricated rumors spread by the sassy man, genuinely believing that he possessed an emperor-ranked beast at his disposal. However, the rumors were nothing but falsehoods, and Su couldn't help but inwardly chuckle at their gullibility. The Blade Moon clan had orchestrated the Silent Balance in an attempt to prevent Su from summoning a beast of that caliber, but their efforts had been in vain. A grave mistake on their part. Su spoke with unwavering composure, his voice steady and filled with gravitas, fully cognizant of the significance his words held. He acknowledged the woman's observation that relying solely on an emperor-ranked beast would not grant invincibility. Nonetheless, he made it clear that the presence or absence of the Silent Balance would have no impact on the inevitable outcome. A subtle shift in the woman's expression betrayed her realization that the Lunar King had somehow uncovered the existence of the Silent Balance. Puzzled and uncertain, she grappled with the mystery of how he had managed to unveil this well-guarded secret. Fixing his gaze upon her, Su locked eyes as if peering into the depths of her very soul. With a tone of solemnity, he delivered a cautionary message. Advising her to swiftly shatter the teleportation stone and flee for her life, he warned of the imminent arrival of his formidable Double Moon clan, poised to seize control of the entire area. Caught off guard, the woman experienced a momentary internal conflict. Her instincts screamed at her to flee, recognizing the imminent danger. Yet, her insatiable greed urged her to seize the opportunity before her. Succumbing to the overpowering temptation of the formidable lunar blade, she made a fateful decision. Ignoring the warning, she yielded to her avarice and commanded her beasts to launch an attack against Su, unable to resist the allure of such an extraordinary weapon. Tension thickened in the air as the 3 formidable beasts lunged towards Su, unleashing their most devastating attacks with a ferocious intensity. Yet, to Su's relief, his moon reflection technique skillfully shielded him from their onslaught, providing a momentary respite. He understood, however, that his defensive technique lacked the capability to retaliate, relying solely on its persuasive bluff. In the midst of the chaos, the young woman stood in awe, her astonishment palpable as she bore witness to the stark power disparity between herself and the Lunar King. Uttering a cryptic incantation, the woman brought her hands together, initiating a mystical ritual that set the ground trembling beneath her feet. Dark clouds swiftly amassed overhead, heralding an impending tempest. In an instant, an enormous black serpent materialized from the conjured circle, its sleek scales radiating an enigmatic luminescence. Its fangs, glistening with an eerie moonlit glow, were wickedly long and sharp, lending an aura of menace to its formidable presence. Utilizing the silent balance skill to conceal her supreme beast's presence, the woman had successfully rendered it undetectable, skillfully evading the risk of rousing the dormant lunar blade. Standing defiantly before Su, her chest swelled with an air of pride, savoring the sight of her colossal creature with a deep sense of satisfaction. Yet, as she beheld her triumphant creation, Su's eyes betrayed an icy coldness, an unmistakable detachment that rendered the formidable creature before him inconsequential, akin to a mere insect in his eyes. Drawing upon a tactic he had once stumbled upon on the internet, Su stood firm, unwavering in his gaze as he locked eyes with the woman and her gargantuan serpent. Aware that projecting an image of unyielding resolve was crucial, he maintained an unwavering composure even in the face of impending peril. As Su held his ground, frustration simmered within the woman's colossal beast, its immense form writhing and slithering with growing agitation, each sinuous movement sending reverberations through the trembling ground. With a pointed finger, the woman demanded an explanation from Su, questioning why he had yet to summon his own creature. Sensing its master's mounting irritation, the colossal serpent surged forward, its jaws agape, unleashing a venomous torrent aimed directly at Su. However, Su stood unwavering, unyielding in the face of the woman's assault. In response, a magnificent creature materialized from the very ground beneath his feet, a testament to his hidden power. Maintaining his calm demeanor, Su was well aware of the limitations of his lunar-type beast, which could only harness half of its true power during the morning. Thankfully, his skillful employment of lake reflection had absorbed the majority of the woman's onslaught, averting his utter annihilation. As the woman lay sprawled on the ground, gasping for breath and grappling with the aftermath of her failed assault, Su resolutely advanced towards the enigmatic recumbent lunar blade, each step brimming with purpose and determination. As Su firmly gripped the hilt of the lunar blade, the woman's gaze fixed upon him with a mixture of apprehension and curiosity. Doubts nagged at her mind, questioning the resilience of Su's invisible barrier against the mighty strike of the lunar blade, capable of toppling even a celestial body. Despite her inner turmoil, a chilling grin etched across her face, a glimmer of sinister anticipation seeping through her despair. With a swift motion, she deactivated the silent balance, allowing her supreme beast to unleash its heightened senses. In a breathtaking instant, the slumbering lunar blade awakened, casting an ethereal glow that bathed the surroundings in a pulsating, otherworldly luminescence. From the misty air, a spectral hand materialized, extending towards the gleaming hilt of the blade, an embodiment of untold power. Exerting a resolute grip, the spectral hand effortlessly hoisted the formidable weapon from its resting place, defying its weight as if it were naught but a mere wisp. In unison with the woman, who channeled the full might of the lunar blade, a surge of unleashed power permeated the air, crackling with an electric intensity. A ferocious wind swept through the valley, its forceful gusts whipping through the surrounding landscape, carrying with them the ominous aura of the awakened blade. With every step the woman took, the ground trembled beneath her, echoing the power that surged through her being. Her eyes blazed with an ethereal radiance, piercing through the shrouds of darkness. High above her head, she wielded a resplendent metallic blade, its surface crackling with arcs of electric energy. The weapon emanated an otherworldly aura, pulsating with an intensity akin to that of a Super Saiyan. As Su observed the scene unfolding before him, his heart quickened with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation, contemplating whether he possessed the fortitude to withstand the imminent onslaught. In an abrupt twist, the protective barrier surrounding Su dissipated, leaving him exposed and vulnerable. The once serene reflection on the lake's surface reverted to its ordinary form, losing its mystic qualities. To Su's astonishment, the woman from the Black Moon clan became entangled in an inexplicable and grotesque shape reminiscent of a massive coiled formation. Despite the peculiar appearance, Su remained cognizant of the woman's formidable strength, realizing that her power surpassed the realm of comprehension and could potentially transcend even greater heights. And now, she wielded the revered lunar blade, as if the celestial forces themselves had granted her their divine favor. The blade resonated with an otherworldly energy, pulsating with each of her graceful swings, emanating a deafening cacophony that reverberated throughout the expansive valley. Sweat beaded on Su's forehead as he struggled to come up with a plan of action, knowing that he couldn't defend against such an attack. With a desperate cry, Su called out to the heavens, his voice echoing through the valley like a prayer, "Heavenly Lunar, please come and save me." Moments earlier, the Seoul Lunar Sect students had teleported outside of the zone, badly battered and bruised, protesting against the academy for the attack by a woman from the academy. The elder of the Seoul Lunar Sect instructed her students to calm down and explain what had happened. She revealed that the attacker was not from the academy, but an elite member of the notorious Black Moon clan. The elder then noticed the woman guarding the entrance was oddly calm and wondered if she cared about the Lunar King's safety. Suddenly, the woman's bell rang, indicating the awakened lunar blade. The woman sprinted away from the entrance, sensing a powerful energy emanating from the blade and another unfamiliar and incredibly powerful energy lurking in the shadows. Within the confines of the zone, Lake Reflection swiftly shielded Sue from the cascading rubble, forming a protective barrier around them. Though preoccupied with their safety, he couldn't help but wonder why the deer, their trusted ally, had not made an appearance. Suppressing these thoughts, he focused on the imminent danger at hand. Realizing time was of the essence, Lake Reflection wasted no time in sending a desperate message to the deer, pleading for immediate assistance. But as his fingers swiftly tapped the communication device, the woman launched her vicious attack, descending closer to Sue with every passing moment. The intensity of her otherworldly aura seared through the air, causing his heart to race in anxious anticipation. With an unwavering resolve to protect both himself and Sue, Lake Reflection's mind raced, searching desperately for a strategy to counter the imminent threat. The gravity of the situation bore down on him, yet he refused to yield to panic. Exhausting all other possibilities, he extended his hand and aimed it directly at the woman's chest, mustering every ounce of his energy. In an instant, the two opposing forces collided, unleashing a cataclysmic explosion that reverberated through the valley. The sheer impact sent shockwaves rippling outward, shattering rocks and uprooting trees in its destructive path. Debris flew through the air, carrying the chaotic aftermath of the explosion. As the dust settled and the cacophony subsided, Lake Reflection cautiously assessed the aftermath, his senses heightened. He braced himself for any potential retaliation, ready to adapt his defenses accordingly. The once serene valley now lay in ruins, a testament to the unleashed power and the intense clash between the two opposing energies. The woman, shrouded in a cloak, emerged from an odd-shaped object that looked like a giant coiled pile. She searched the ruins of the land for any signs of the Lunar King, scanning the area with keen eyes. The destruction in the air was overwhelming, and the ground shook with each step she took, indicating the severity of the battle that had taken place. The Lunar Blade, an immensely powerful and symbolically significant weapon, hovered effortlessly in the air. Its polished metal surface gleamed radiantly, reflecting the intense sunlight, serving as a tangible reminder of its deadly capabilities. A wave of despair washed over the woman's heart as she desperately sought any sign of the Lunar King's presence. She questioned whether the formidable ruler had been reduced to mere particles of dust amidst the chaotic aftermath of the fierce encounter. Engrossed in her thoughts, the woman pondered her next course of action. She acknowledged that her actions had activated the dormant lunar blade, but uncertainty clouded her understanding of its implications for the Lunar King. Her mind raced, desperately seeking clarity amidst the chaos. Gradually, she arrived at a tentative conclusion that she must have emerged victorious over the Lunar King. Overwhelmed by a surge of disbelief, the woman instinctively covered her face with her hands, a blend of shock and excitement coursing through her veins. Standing amidst the heap of lifeless serpent bodies, the woman erupted into laughter, unable to contain her delight as she savored the memory of the Lunar King's final moments. It brought her immense satisfaction to envision the once arrogant wielder of the formidable lunar blade meeting his demise while engrossed in his phone. However, her jubilation swiftly waned as the lunar blade started emitting an ethereal glow, signifying its reawakening. Awe and wonder filled her, but before she could fully grasp the situation, a blinding light enveloped her, abruptly interrupting her joyous state. As the brilliance of the light subsided, the woman discovered herself surrounded by the lifeless serpent corpses, and her gaze fixated on the Lunar King, emerging unscathed from the settling dust, not a trace of dirt tarnishing his form. Intriguingly, a towering figure adorned with majestic antlers stood behind him, captivating her attention. Though a wave of despair washed over her upon encountering such a formidable adversary, she remembered the teleportation stone tucked safely in her pocket, readying herself for a hasty escape. However, before departing, an insatiable curiosity compelled her to catch a glimpse of the Lunar King's beast and behold its resplendence. The woman stood transfixed by the deer's awe-inspiring beauty. Its flowing white hair, ethereal complexion reminiscent of the moon, and grand antlers left her utterly captivated. Towering before her, the majestic creature surpassed the serpents she had previously faced in both size and grandeur, rendering her feeling utterly despondent, with a sense of hopelessness engulfing her. Simultaneously, Sue found himself equally astounded by the deer's metamorphosis, pondering whether it would attain the same captivating allure as the enigmatic female apparition positioned behind them. However, his contemplation abruptly ceased when the deer urgently inquired about his strategy to halt the activated lunar blade. Recognizing the dire consequences of a potential subsequent assault, Sue swiftly retrieved his lunar book, determined to uncover a solution to their predicament. After scrolling through pages of information, Sue stumbled upon a passage that described a mythical creature from ancient times that might be able to help them. He felt a sense of urgency as he read on, determined to find a way to survive their encounter with the deadly blade. Time seemed to stand still as he searched for a solution, knowing that their lives were at stake. The words slipped off the page, painting a vivid picture of the beast's relentless pursuit of her lost scabbard since the shattering of the moonlight. For millennia, the creature had scoured every corner of the land tirelessly, searching for the elusive scabbard that had been taken from her. As time wore on, the creature grew weary of her endless quest and eventually withdrew from the world, refusing to communicate with any living beings. Under the description, the book also indicated that there's another piece of the weapon, the scabbard, which is currently locked. The gleaming blade was poised in an attack stance, ready for any threat that dared to approach her. Su could feel the energy pulsing through the air, charged with an otherworldly force that made his hair stand on end. Suddenly, the lunar blade snapped open, a fiery glow emanating from within. As the woman from the Black Moon clan fled back to her shelter, the lunar blade exchanged a meaningful glance with a deer, their energies colliding in midair like a symphony of light and sound. Su knew that he had to act quickly before the opportunity slipped away. With steady steps, he approached the lunar blade, his hands outstretched in a gesture of peace. With unwavering authority, Su addressed the lunar blade, inquiring whether she sought her missing scabbard, Frosty. Intrigued and taken aback by Su's words, the blade's eye widened, brimming with curiosity. Seizing the moment, Su made a solemn vow, assuming the role of the Lunar King, promising to reunite her with the scabbard within a span of 3 years. However, he posed a condition that she must consent to. Understanding the proposition, the Luna blade closed her eyes, allowing Su's hand to penetrate the protective barrier enveloping her. As Su grasped the lunar blade tightly, the tranquil lake reflection underwent a dramatic metamorphosis, transitioning from serenity to a swirling vortex of formidable power. Within the miniature tornado, the Luna blade twirled, appearing to acknowledge Su as her newfound master. Then, accompanied by a gust of wind, the lunar blade descended and forcefully embedded itself into Su's body. In that instant, an electrifying surge of energy coursed through him, pulsating with untapped might. Even the observing deer comprehended that this development would send shockwaves throughout the entire realm, igniting a significant upheaval. From a distance, a woman watched in sheer disbelief as the unfolding events unfolded before her eyes. She was well aware that numerous beast tamers had futilely attempted to capture the elusive lunar blade, only to meet with failure. Legends spoke of its indestructibility and the requirement to demonstrate unparalleled prowess as a warrior to establish a contract. Recognizing the significance of what she had witnessed, the woman understood the urgency of conveying this crucial information to the nefarious Black Moon clan, even if it meant sacrificing her own life in the process. With a resounding roar, the woman summoned her colossal serpent, propelling herself recklessly towards Su, driven by a potent combination of desperation and an unwavering determination to fulfill her mission. Meeting her gaze, Su comprehended that she had become privy to too much information. Acting swiftly, the deer accompanying Su unleashed a devastating surge of vibrant purple energy, annihilating everything in its formidable path, engulfing not only the serpent but also an entire mountain in its destructive wake. Coughing up blood, the woman's realization of the white flower deer's true identity washed over her. With a profound sense of urgency, she understood the imperative need to escape without delay. Determined to employ a teleportation stone for her getaway, she sought a diversion to slip away unnoticed. Commanding her 3 high-ranking beasts, she set them charging towards Su and the deer, intending to create a distraction. Gripping the teleportation stone tightly, she attempted to shatter it discreetly, avoiding drawing attention. However, in an unexpected turn of events, a wet noodle-level flicker butterfly swiftly flew by, snatching the stone and delivering it back to Su, foiling her escape attempt. Overwhelmed by a sense of dread, the woman confronted the magnitude of her mistake. She had gravely underestimated the Lunar King and his shrewd strategies. With an acute understanding of the perilous situation she found herself in, she recognized the urgent necessity to escape for her very survival, lest she be apprehended by the formidable duo of Su and the white flower deer. A sinister expression of malicious delight adorned Su's face as his eyes fixated upon the recently acquired teleportation stone. His smug smirk unmistakably conveyed his satisfaction at triumphing over the woman who had foolishly underestimated him. Mockingly, he belittled her, deriding the notion that a mere flicker butterfly would even register amidst a clash of supreme-ranked beasts. The woman, burdened by the weight of her imminent demise, comprehended her grave error, sensing the inexorable doom she faced in the presence of the Lunar King. Despite her remorse, she considered it a profound honor to confront him in battle. Suddenly, a brilliant light enveloped her, compelling her to brace herself for the unknown that awaited her. The stillness shattered as resounding footsteps reverberated through the air, signaling the arrival of an individual. All eyes turned towards the entrance, where a figure emerged from the obscurity of darkness. It was Su, his mere presence commanding attention as he made his way towards the assembled crowd. An air of tension settled over the gathering, each person anxiously awaiting the words that would escape Su's lips. With a voice that resonated like a conqueror's, Su spoke, his tone brimming with finality and authority. He announced that the battle had concluded, emphasizing that he was now the rightful possessor of the dormant lunar blade. Asserting his claim, he declared that henceforth, the blade would be under his custodianship, drawing a line of ownership from that very day forward. And that's how the first part of this manhwa ends. Well guys, if you like this video and you want a second part, comment below with the word part 2. Also subscribe to the channel, hit the bell and like the video. But most important, leave a comment. Until the next video.